I would like to talk about something that we did not address on last week's show, but it has been sort of a, I don't know, like it's been described as a turning point in the Israel Gaza war. I'm talking about the triple tap of the Jose Andres aid convoy in Gaza, the killing of 7 aid workers, including an American citizen. And like this has been, like I said, it's been sort of framed as a turning point, at least in the media management of the war. I don't know if this is a turning point in terms of policy. I mean, like they seem to have opened up another border crossing to get aid trucks in, but like this does seem to be mostly symbolic. But then you have people like Nancy Pelosi signing on to like to say, hey, we have to cut off military aid to Israel. But I was just like trying to understand all of this, and I'd like to share. There was an article in the Financial Times by Edward Luce that I thought really did a brilliant job of sort of capturing why this moment is different, and why people in Washington feel differently about the killing of these 7 people as opposed to tens, if not hundreds of thousands of others. So this is from the this is Israel's Jose Andres problem. This is by Edward Luce, writing in the Financial Times. The subhead is: Will the killing of 7 World Central Kitchen workers prompt Biden to take action against Netanyahu's government? It begins like this. One of the few high points for me of Washington's grim pandemic lockdown in 2002 was a lunch with the FT that I did with Jose Andres. Because of the rules, we had to do it on Zoom, but even that had its upside. The Spanish chef and world renowned humanitarian was eating at one of his outlets in Virginia Beach. I was sitting in my home office with Mexican food from one of his pop up restaurants. At the end of our session, I asked what his greeting and goodbye rule was during the age of coronavirus. At the time, people were annoyingly clinking elbows, which struck me as precisely the wrong sneeze ridden part of the body to be using. Andre
Mm.
stood up, straightened himself out, stared into the camera, then pounded his barrel chest, shouting, I give you my heart. I give you my heart. From almost anyone else, Andre's theatrical gesture would have come across as contrived. From him, however, it was utterly sincere. Very few people give their hearts to the extent that Andres does. I have been thinking about him, as have so many others, after 7 of his colleagues, what he calls angels, were killed in 3 Israeli drone strikes earlier this week. Since last October, Andres' World Kitchen has supplied 43 million meals to Palestinians trapped in that enclave, which is almost 20 meals per person. I don't have a complete list, but I would not be surprised if this exceeds all other non governmental organizations combined. Either way, it's a safe bet that only UNRWA, boycotted by Israel and now the U.S., would have supplied more food to the Gaza Strip than the World Central Kitchen. It goes on like this, but it says here the latest incident has also affected Joe Biden in a way earlier ones did not. Put simply, Andres is a Washington celebrity. He was one of the pioneers of high quality restaurants in the early 1990s, and in Washington that had a well deserved reputation for dowdy food. Andres Jaleo introduced Spanish style tapas food to America's capital. In 2016, his restaurant Minibar was one of Washington's first batch to merit a 2-star Michelin award. Among others, Nancy Pelosi, the former U.S. Speaker, has nominated him for a Nobel Peace Prize. When I spoke to Andres during the pandemic, he was keeping dozens of local restaurants alive by ordering food deliveries from them to supply homeless shelters, hospital staff, and other essential workers. So I was just very taken by that description of like, why does this matter now? It's because he introduced tapas to Washington, D.C., and you don't kill someone or you don't kill the friends of someone who operates Minibar and Jaleo in Washington, D.C., a city mostly known for bad food.
Well, I mean, before then, you have to understand they were eating the food of the founding fathers, of the Puritans, and of like I don't know, like whatever weird warm sushi they ate in the movie Wall Street. Like there, it was like pureed turnips and shit. So I mean, if they're
Hardtack.
gonna listen to anyone, it's gonna be the celebrity chef because they're such an insecure, dumbass city that the one thing that they have is cool. What do they have, like hardcore in the 80s? No. It's a shitty city. If the celebrity chef can fucking it's not a city. It's America's office park. If that's what it takes, I'm down with that.
It has been like disheartening that like after God only knows the death count, but like that this was kind of it. This was the breaking point for normal countries to open the floodgates. I mean, because they haven't just come out about this. This is like caused a bunch of more normal countries and really like most lawmakers to actually use the genocide word.
Mm-hmm.
Like of course it's terrible, but like you would hope that the tens of thousands that were killed before that would have provoked something. But even on the Israeli side, I think they do at least recognize how badly they fucked up with this one, because their response to this is, I mean, it's pure anguish, but also like the like mainstream theory now seems to be that Hamas provoked them into doing this. The thing that they have done at least like
Yeah.
20 times before, fucking annihilating aid trucks with cruise missiles.
I mean, like it has provoked some other strange reactions in the media. Like, for instance, like the New York Times dropping the passive voice when they talk about who killed these people. And I'm looking at a CNN headline right now that just says videos and eyewitness accounts cast doubt on Israel's timeline of deadly Gaza aid delivery, talking about the flower massacre. And it just seems like, yeah, like I think it's a tipping point in so much as I think that there's a lot of people who just need they need permission from the media to voice the feelings that they know are true. So like I think a lot of people have just been like, this is really bad and this seems really evil for a long time. But like I think they need the like for sensible people, they need the data to comport with like their opinion. So like now that the data's come in and Israel kills aid workers seemingly on purpose, like sort of they can say, oh, now maybe we should consider cutting off military aid. Or like Elizabeth Warren comes out and says, I think what's happening in Gaza will be remembered as a genocide, even after she voted to cut off aid to UNRWA. But like, yeah, it does seems like there's sort of like not again in policy because I haven't heard much from the Biden administration about this. And like, it seems like Israel is still going to attack Rafah, and they're still going to basically try to prevent. Sorry, was that Amber?
I was just saying, I mean, like, as much as I hope it's a sea change, like 4 days ago, I was looking at the FT and headline: Israel details, quote, grave mistake in killing of 7 Gaza aid workers. Military says 2 officers dismissed over strikes on World Central Kitchen vehicles. So I don't know. I'm not a huge optimist about it. Maybe if we got more chefs, maybe we need more luxury chefs. Maybe that's the army we need. I think it's a good sign that these horrible lib morons are finally feeling some pressure. But I mean, what is that going to amount to? Is it really going to happen? Do you think? And like,
No, I mean,
I
like
hate to be a person, but like, it's kind of just because there are survivors of a genocide doesn't mean it was a victory.
I mean, yeah, I remain skeptical like you, Amber. Like that's what I said. I think it's like a turning point in people's and how the media covers this and like people's perception of it, and that like this provides a certain permission for people to say like, hey, this is really bad. Maybe we should stop. But yeah, like I have not seen any change in policy that would match up with this yet.
A lot of lip service, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, like, yeah, I mean, this does this. This is horrible. Like, and like the idea that it was an accident is pretty ridiculous too. I mean, they hit 3 different cars with 3 different missiles.
Yeah.
And it's also something that they've done. Again, we've lost count of how many times they've done it in this go around alone. I mean, these are far from the first aid trucks they've hit since October.
Yeah, I mean, it just like I mean, I think it's just like a turning point in like how much more difficult it will be for them to continue to pretend like Israel's doing this for their self defense, or they're fighting to free the hostages or whatever, or like it really does blow a hole in the idea that like, hey, we keep asking, hey, there's nothing we can do as far as opening up these aid crossings. It's like it seems like the pressure they put on them, they were just like, hey, could you open up one aid crossing after killing 7 people who were like including an American citizen, and they were like, okay, sure, fine. And then they got that done pretty quickly. But like, the point is that like all the aid crossings should be open and like all the military aid needs to stop now, like yesterday.